And you're watching The Rock Office.
What's up? This is John Cooper from the band Skillet. You're watching The Rock Office.
Hey everyone, you've reached The Rock Office. It's time to clock in to rock out. I'm your host, Bill Smith.
And I'm Kevin Davis.
All right, we're back with another great episode. We have the privilege of speaking with Mr. John Cooper, lead singer and bass player from the band Skillet, which some of you may know, some of you may not know, but in case you are unaware of them, they are the third biggest selling rock band in the last couple years, right behind the Black Keys and Mumford & Son. Their album Awake has sold like million-plus copies, which in this day and age is unheard of.
Right.
And we have the privilege, he's going to be calling in here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what that feels like to be the, I would say, the biggest selling unheard of band in the world, maybe, but really,
yeah, really, like, you know, what's that like these days when everything's so digital, you know, and
right.
they're putting these units out, and there's not a lot of bands doing that anymore.
No, well, the Mumford & Son, Black Keys, and Skillet.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, at any rate, actually, I've been a fan of these guys for a long time. Really enjoy their blend of hard, melodic rock with a strong faith-based message, you could say, and yeah, looking forward to talking with them. So,
all right. Well, let's see if we can get hooked up with John here, and we'll be right back. All right.
All right, here we are. We're getting ready. Mr. Cooper is calling in, and Mr. Cooper, thank you for being on the Rock Office. And right off the bat, I just want to congratulate you guys for your album Awake selling over 1 million copies. You guys are in great company with like Mumford & Son and the Black Keys. You're one of only 3 bands recently to have your album actually sell over platinum, which is 1 million copies. So I wanted to say congratulations to you, sir.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's not a problem at all. And Rise is your latest release, and you're currently on tour in support of that. Would you mind telling me a little bit about how the concert's going and what kind of reaction you're getting from your fans out there?
Yeah, it's going great. You know, it's great to be out on this tour we're on. This is actually our first headlining American tour since the newest record came out.
Okay.
Because we did some headlining, but it was in Russia and South America. We were overseas a lot last year, so it's good to be home in America and you know, rocking the free world.
Nice, awesome, very good. Well, listen, I understand that Rise is a bit of a concept album. Can you kind of share a little bit about what the concept or the message that you guys are trying to convey with your new album is?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is, absolutely. I mean, it is a concept record. I mean, each song on its own, in other words, you don't have to hear them all in a sequence to get each song.
Okay.
They're kind of like mini stories within a larger story, and the larger story is kind of a coming-of-age narrative of a typical teenager coming into adulthood and being faced with how terrible and violent the world is.
Right.
And it's kind of his journey of faith and how he finds God, how he finds hope in this dark place.
Wow, that sounds powerful. Let me ask you, I've been a longtime fan, starting back from your stuff in the 90s when you first came out, and there's a
thank you.
distinctive progression and arc in your guys' sound. You know, you kind of started off as maybe more of an electronic or an industrial rock to where you guys now are more of a hard rock with a symphonic or a melodic backbone and structure there. Can you describe kind of how you guys have progressed and changed and maybe matured as artists, and kind of what has inspired you to, change your sound so drastically through the years?
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, music changes so much, so fast. I always wanted to be a band that was evolving, and I mean, some of my favorite bands have kind of morphed their sound over the years to stay current.
Okay.
Now, some bands don't have to do that. For instance, Metallica doesn't need to because they created a style of music.
Right. Right.
But there are other bands like, whether it be U2 or even Aerosmith, bands like that who kind of changed a little bit with the times. And that's kind of what I like to do. I like to try new things. My own music influence has changed because I just love music.
Yeah.
So yeah, starting in the 90s, we were kind of a rock band, and we got involved in industrial and electronic and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think our current sound of the past few years is kind of almost a melting pot of all of my favorite things. It's definitely, we're a rock band. We have a lot of electronic influence and a lot of classical influence on the string, progressions and the duets, the vocals, and it's very theatrical, and it's a little bit, larger than life, which I like.
Right, exactly. That's a perfect way to describe it there. Now, I want to ask you, and I'm not trying to be offensive if I come across that way. I do apologize. That's certainly not my intention, but Skillet is a Christian band, and
sure,
you guys have been known for that, and you have been one of, I'll say a handful of bands starting from the Christian arena that have had success in the mainstream or the secular marketplace.
Sure.
Do you guys find it difficult to walk that line between the mainstream and the Christian market? And if so, what kind of response do you get on both sides of the fence? I'm just curious to see what kind of response either fans, be it more Christian fans and more of the mainstream fans, how they respond to your music, or you guys even once they find out what your faith is, and
sure,
that can kind of be like a touchy subject with some folks. Would you mind elaborating with us on that?
Well, it is a little bit of a, song and dance. You kind of navigate a bit through expectations, and it's a lot of work because you have to be smart about, what shows you play, and you got to do both markets. And unfortunately, a lot of times Skillet can come to the same city twice, and depending on who we're on tour with, have a completely different crowd,
Right.
And that is something I'd like to see change, but it's a bit of hard work. But I think that Skillet is I would say, accepted very well in the mainstream rock world. It took a long time because, a lot of people, when they hear the term Christian band, they come to a lot of ideas of what that may mean. And it's a little bit like two strikes against you,
Okay, yeah.
So, I think we had some radio stations and some promoters out there that really believed in the band. They liked our music. They were kind of on the, hey, I don't care if they're Christian or atheist or anything in between. It doesn't matter to me. If I like the song, I'll play it. If I don't, I won't play it. Right. And tell you the truth, I think music fans are that way. I don't think that most of the people buying music and listening to radio out there are all that interested in the beliefs of the band they're listening to. They just want to like the music or not like the music. So I do think that there's a lot of people out there that are not religious at all, right, who unlike the way that Skillet's music makes them feel. And I meet a lot of people like that.
Oh, cool.
People say, hey, I'm an atheist. I'm not down with the Jesus thing, but your music makes me feel good. And I say, great, I'm glad. That's awesome to me. I love it. And I would have to say also, not to pat Skillet on the back here too much, but I think one of the reasons that we are being accepted is because a lot of times you see bands cross from Christian to rock music, and they are a little bit embarrassed of where they came from. They kind of want to keep it quiet, and they're a little bit like, don't ask, don't tell. And Skillet is not like that. I'm not embarrassed of Christian music, and I'm not embarrassed of my faith, and I'm not embarrassed of being on Christian music tours. And if people don't like that about me, they don't have to come, So I think that there's a respect that has kind of grown for Skillet of they're not afraid to be who they are, and I respect that, and I'm kind of proud of that.
Cool. That's such a great response. It's actually not what I was expecting, but it's a lot better than that. So cool, thank you. One question we'd like to ask all of our guests is, we are big supporters of physical music, supporting the record stores and buying the LPs, buying the CDs, getting out there and supporting the bands with the purchase of the music. And we like to ask our guests, do they have a preference, the purchase physical music, or they go the digital downloading? How has the digital downloading revolution, impacted your life or changed your life in any way?
Yes, it really has. I mean, a lot of times you just kind of prefer what you grow up with,
Yeah.
For instance, there's somebody on this tour that I'm on right now that keeps trying to convince me to read books on the Kindle, and I just can't do it. I'm used to reading actual books, and
Actual books, right.
I just like it that way, and I'm the same way. If I love, the new Metallica comes out, the new Linkin Park comes out, I go and I buy the actual CD so I can read the lyrics, and I can look at the thank you note, the liner notes. I mean, I'm kind of a liner note junkie since the time I was a kid, so
right.
I prefer that. But certainly, there are sometimes things where you're like, oh, I wanted to hear what the new so-and-so sound like, and I'll buy the single on iTunes, like most other people do. But what I cannot get used to, and what I personally never done, not trying to say there's anything wrong with it, but I personally cannot get used to the whole Spotify thing. Just typing in something and listening to music all the time with, for free is just not something that I'm, prepared to do. But it's not the end of the world. It's just, a new world.
Right. Yep. Very good. Great insight on that. That's a great response. What can Skillet fans, called the Panheads, funny enough, what can your fans expect for you guys down the road, maybe next 6 months to a year? Any more touring, anything like that on the horizon for you guys?
Sure. Well, we are doing a lot of headline touring right now because, as I mentioned earlier, we hadn't been in America that much since the record came out. So we're doing the next 3-4 months headline touring all over the country, getting the album out there. Then we're actually headed back to Europe again in Russia during the summer. And then we come back here and we do more headline touring in America. So we're going to be all over the place, just getting the record out and getting the music out and releasing, some more songs at radio and just making it happen, man.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, Mr. Cooper, I know you're really busy. You're calling from on the road, and I won't take too much of your time. I just want to say thank you for calling into the Rock Office today. And, God bless you guys, and hopefully you'll come back to Cleveland soon and catch you guys at a show.
Awesome. I appreciate it, man.
All right. Bye.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. That was it. John Cooper of Skillet. What a cool guy. Some great answers there. Some, maybe I'll say poignant questions, maybe difficult to answer for some folks, but, I really appreciate the fact that he's not ashamed of his faith and he incorporates that into his art. And I think that's so cool. So we're going to tear down the set a little bit here, and we're going to be right back with you guys. All right. That was it. Interview with John Cooper from Skillet. Actually, great band. Really have been a fan of these guys for a long time. And the hard rock, a lot of melodic elements in it, and the faith-based message, which I really think is something the world could use right now. A little bit of hope, uplifting outlook on things. And
yeah, it's not to say that other bands lyrically don't have a strong message, but this one is not only strong, but it's also, it's positive. And I think that's the thing, that's really nice. You've got a hard, edgy sound as far as a band is concerned, but yet you've got a lyrical message that's passing on hope, and it's really good. And they've transitioned a lot over the years as well. I mean,
yeah, they really have.
As far as like a band is concerned.
Yeah, they kind of started off as like maybe an industrial, like a Nine Inch Nails kind of a thing, and they've kind of morphed into what they are now, which I think is a lot better personally.
I would agree with that,
yeah.
And not that there's anything against that other sound, but I think that just as with anything, you mature, and your music matures, and you are able to tweak what it is that you really are wanting to put out. And Skillet's a great example of that as well. They've really matured. I really like their music, and with the faith-based message, like you said, that's an added bonus because you can listen to it and you can you can get something out of it, other than just, being able to, go away to another land for, 5 to 60 minutes,
Yeah, great. All right, well, we like to thank their management, Julie, who helped arrange all this. Thank you, Julie. And actually like to thank Mr. Cooper from Skillet as well. So check those guys out. Also, check us out. Facebook.com/Rock Office. Our numbers have been growing, and we really appreciate you guys sharing. You must be sharing us and getting us out there, because we cannot believe the growth that we've been having last month or so, and we appreciate it. We thank you very much.
Yes, phenomenal.
Also on Twitter, Rock Office, at @the_rock_office. So many things, I'm confused.
Yeah.
And we're also online. Visit our website at therockoffice.com, where you can read my weekly blog. Kevin's going to be contributing some things to it very soon. I'm excited to read that. As well as you can watch our episodes. You can order some of our merchandise there. You can donate to us, because we really do appreciate the support, not just sharing us on the internet, but financially it helps us be able to do what we do and keep this a relevant and good-looking show that you guys will enjoy.
Yeah, just kind of hit on that for a second, not to try and drive a point home, but we really love bringing this stuff to you guys. We're first and foremost huge music fans. We don't obviously, well, maybe Bill does, but I don't obviously claim to know everything there is about music. But I enjoy being able to bring this stuff to you guys. Do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. Maybe you don't see me as much as you'd like to, or maybe you see me as little as you'd like to. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is we enjoy being able to hook, you guys up with these inside messages from these artists to kind of really dig where they're coming from, and there's not a lot of this stuff out there. You can read a lot of print work, but as far as being able to hear it straight out of their mouths, see them, and get that inside stuff. Tangible, yeah, very tangible. So we appreciate it. And with that being said, going back to my original point, we can only do that with your support. So we've got some merchandise and stuff that's available on the rockoffice.com website. Check that stuff out. Those purchases, those go to help support what we do. And, not only that, but you can look cool in some of the TRO merchandise that we've got out there and show your support, especially if you're in the Cleveland area where we are. We got a lot of love from the Cleveland Scene magazine's Best Of contest this past year. And, that shows us a lot that you guys, especially in the Cleveland area, are really digging this stuff. So, continue to support it, buy that merchandise, and all that money goes to continually support what we're doing right here. So, we appreciate it.
We're like the PBS of rock and roll.
Yes, except for, at least as of yet, we've had no quirky fundraising thing, although maybe we can do a 24-hour Jerry Lewis type, webcast, because Lord knows they won't let us on the airwaves. At least not yet, if anybody's watching. No. So...
All right, with that being said, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it,
Remember, support your local independent record stores by buying the physical copy of music instead of the digital download. We'll see you next time on The Rock Office. Take care, God bless.